Hello everyone, I'm Ethan Cole, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to answer a question that millions of people ask every year. How do wealthy people actually invest their money? Not the myths, not the flashy social media advice, not the get-rich-quick schemes. We're talking about the real strategies used by millionaires, entrepreneurs, and billionaires to build and protect wealth. And by the end of this documentary, you'll understand why the rich often get richer, while many hardworking people struggle to build lasting financial freedom. Most people believe wealthy individuals become rich because they earn more money. At first, that sounds logical. But if income alone created wealth, every professional athlete, celebrity, doctor, and executive would remain rich forever. History shows that's not true. Many people earn millions and still end up broke. Why? Because earning money and building wealth are two completely different skills. Income is what you earn. Wealth is what you keep. A person earning $50,000 who consistently invests may become wealthier than someone earning $500,000 who spends everything. The wealthy understand this difference. Most people focus on income. The wealthy focus on assets. The first thing wealthy people do differently is surprisingly simple. They make their money work. Most people work for money. The wealthy build systems where money works for them. Every dollar becomes an employee. Its job is to generate more dollars. Many people assume rich individuals keep huge piles of cash sitting in bank accounts. The reality is often the opposite. Wealthy investors understand that cash loses purchasing power over time because of inflation. Instead of letting money sit idle, they put it to work. Imagine leaving $100,000 untouched for 20 years. The number stays the same, but what that money can buy gradually shrinks. Inflation quietly reduces purchasing power. That's why wealthy investors are constantly looking for assets that can grow faster than inflation. Average consumers buy things that cost money. The wealthy buy things that produce money. This simple difference changes everything. One purchase creates expenses, the other creates income. The wealthy constantly ask a question: will this put money into my pocket or take money out? An asset is something that has the potential to increase in value or generate income. Stocks, businesses, real estate, intellectual property, these are assets. The wealthy focus on collecting assets because assets continue working long after the purchase is made. Many people increase spending every time income increases. New car, bigger house, more subscriptions, more lifestyle expenses. As income grows, expenses grow too. This cycle makes wealth difficult to build. Wealth isn't created by what you earn. It's created by the gap between what you earn and what you spend. Then investing that difference wisely. This principle sounds simple, yet most people ignore it. When wealthy people receive money, they often ask, where should I invest this? Many average consumers ask, what should I buy? That small difference repeated over decades creates massive results. The wealthy understand ownership. Employees earn income. Owners build wealth. Ownership creates leverage. A business can earn money while the owner sleeps. A stock can appreciate without daily effort. Ownership allows wealth to scale. If you look at the world's richest individuals, you'll notice something interesting. Most are owners, business owners, company founders, major shareholders. They became wealthy because they owned assets that grew in value over time. The moment many people begin building wealth is the moment they stop thinking like consumers and start thinking like investors. Every financial decision changes. Every purchase gets evaluated differently. Every dollar receives a job. Now that we understand why the wealthy focus on assets instead of income alone, the next question becomes even more important. Where exactly do they invest their money? Stocks, real estate, businesses, private companies, and which investments create the biggest fortunes? That's exactly what we'll uncover next. Most people save money. The wealthy invest money, and where they invest often determines how much wealth they eventually build. The rich rarely rely on a single investment. Instead, they build portfolios made up of different assets working together. One of the most common investments among wealthy individuals is stocks, not because they're exciting, but because they represent ownership in real businesses. When great companies grow, shareholders benefit, and over long periods, stocks have historically been one of the most effective ways to build wealth. Many beginners treat stocks like lottery tickets. The wealthy treat them like businesses. When they buy shares, they're buying ownership. They're asking, will this company be stronger 10 years from now? Not, will the stock go up next week? Many millionaires don't spend all day picking stocks. Instead, they invest heavily in index funds. An index fund allows investors to own hundreds of companies at once. It's simple, low cost, and historically very effective. Warren Buffett has repeatedly said that most people should invest in low-cost index funds. Why? Because very few investors consistently beat the market. Index funds allow ordinary investors to participate in the growth of entire economies. Saving protects money. Investing grows money. Both are important. But the wealthy understand that long-term wealth comes primarily from investments, not savings accounts. Another favorite investment of the wealthy is real estate. Real estate offers something unique. Potential appreciation, rental income, tax advantages, and leverage. These factors make it attractive for many investors. Many fortunes have been built through property ownership. A property can increase in value over time. At the same time, it can generate monthly income. And in many cases, tenants help pay the mortgage. This creates multiple sources of return. The wealthy often own more than residential properties. Many invest in office buildings, warehouses, shopping centers, industrial properties. These commercial assets can generate significant income streams. Many of the richest people in the world built wealth through business ownership. A successful business can scale faster than almost any other asset. That's why entrepreneurs dominate many wealth rankings. Many people own jobs. The wealthy aim to own systems. A business owner can create processes, hire teams, and generate income beyond their personal labor. Ownership creates leverage, and leverage accelerates growth. Some wealthy investors go beyond public markets. They invest in private companies. This is known as private equity. Instead of buying shares on a stock exchange, investors acquire ownership directly in businesses. Private businesses often provide more control, more influence, and potentially higher returns. But they also carry higher risks. This is why private equity is usually reserved for experienced investors with significant capital. One thing many wealthy individuals have in common is multiple income streams: business income, investment income, rental income, dividends, royalties. The goal is to avoid depending on a single source of money. Stocks, real estate, businesses, private investments. These are some of the vehicles the wealthy use to build fortunes. But there's another advantage that many rich people use differently than everyone else: debt. And understanding how the wealthy use debt may completely change the way you think about money. For many people, debt is something to avoid. Credit card debt, personal loans, high-interest borrowing. And in many cases, that's good advice. But wealthy investors view debt differently. To them, debt is not always a burden. Sometimes it's a tool, and when used correctly, it can accelerate wealth creation. Not all debt is created equal. Bad debt usually finances consumption, luxury purchases, vacations, expensive items that lose value. Good debt finances assets, assets that can generate income or appreciate over time. This distinction changes everything. Imagine borrowing money to buy an expensive car. The moment you drive it away, it starts losing value. Now imagine borrowing money to purchase a rental property that generates monthly income. One asset consumes money. The other potentially produces money. That's the difference between good debt and bad debt. The wealthy often use a concept called leverage. Leverage means controlling a large asset with a relatively small amount of your own money. Instead of paying 100% in cash, investors may use financing. This allows them to acquire larger assets sooner. Imagine a property worth $1 million. Instead of paying the full amount, an investor may contribute $200,000 and finance the rest. If the property's value increases, the return on the investor's original capital can be significantly amplified. This is the power of leverage. But leverage works both ways. When investments rise, gains can increase. When investments fall, losses can increase too. This is why experienced investors treat leverage with caution. Used wisely, it can accelerate growth. Used recklessly, it can destroy wealth. Why banks love assets? Banks are often willing to lend money for assets: real estate, businesses, commercial properties. Why? Because these assets have value. And in many cases, they generate income. The wealthy understand how to use these financial systems effectively. Many wealthy investors could buy properties outright, yet some choose financing. Why? Because keeping capital available allows them to invest in multiple opportunities at the same time. Instead of tying up all their cash in one asset, they maintain flexibility. Business owners often use financing to expand operations: new equipment, additional locations, inventory, hiring. When growth opportunities exceed available cash, financing can help businesses scale faster. While wealthy investors may use strategic debt, many consumers become trapped by high-interest debt, credit card balances, personal loans, consumer financing. These often reduce wealth rather than build it. The wealthy typically avoid paying high interest whenever possible. One principle wealthy investors constantly monitor is cash flow. Can the asset generate enough income to support itself? Positive cash flow creates flexibility. Negative cash flow creates pressure. The rich focus heavily on this distinction. Wealthy investors often prioritize optionality: having cash available, having access to credit, having investment flexibility. Because opportunities often appear unexpectedly, and preparation allows investors to act quickly. Average investors often think about next month. The wealthy think about the next decade. They use debt only when it helps support long-term goals, not short-term gratification. This long-term perspective changes their decisions dramatically. Many billionaires use debt, but not because they lack money. They use it strategically, to preserve liquidity, to maximize opportunities, and to allow their assets to continue growing. The key isn't borrowing. The key is understanding why. Now we've explored stocks, real estate, businesses, and leverage. But there's another secret that separates wealthy investors from everyone else. They understand the power of diversification because protecting wealth can be just as important as creating it. Many people believe wealthy investors spend all their time chasing higher returns. But that's only half the story. The truly wealthy focus just as much on protecting wealth as creating it. Because once significant wealth is built, preservation becomes a priority. Imagine earning 50% on an investment. Now imagine losing 50%. Most people assume they're equal. They're not. A 50% loss requires a 100% gain just to recover. The wealthy understand this math very well. One of the most common wealth protection strategies is diversification. Instead of placing everything into a single investment, wealthy investors spread capital across multiple assets. This reduces risk, because not all investments move in the same direction at the same time. Imagine investing your entire life savings into one company. If that company fails, your financial future may disappear with it. Diversification helps protect against this risk. The wealthy rarely depend on a single investment. Many wealthy investors own a mix of assets: stocks, real estate, businesses, cash reserves. Each asset serves a different purpose. Together, they create balance. As wealth increases, many investors explore alternative investments: private companies, venture capital, farmland, infrastructure. These investments may offer unique opportunities unavailable in public markets. One of the biggest misconceptions about wealthy investors is that they invest in everything. The opposite is often true. Successful investors say no far more often than they say yes. They wait patiently for exceptional opportunities. Patience is one of the most underrated financial skills. Many investors constantly buy and sell. The wealthy often allow investments to grow for years, sometimes decades. Time becomes their greatest ally. At the center of almost every large fortune is compound interest. Money earning money. Then, that money earning even more money. Over time, growth begins accelerating. This is why long-term investors often achieve extraordinary results. Many investors try to perfectly time the market. The wealthy often focus on time in the market instead. Predicting short-term movements is difficult, but owning quality assets over long periods has historically been powerful. Most people define risk as losing money. The wealthy often define risk differently. If we simplify everything we've discussed, the wealth formula looks something like this. Earn income, spend less than you earn, invest the difference. Acquire assets, protect those assets, and allow time to work. Simple doesn't mean easy, but it works. The challenge isn't lack of information. Most people already know they should save and invest. The challenge is consistency. The wealthy often follow the same principles for decades, while others constantly change direction. After studying how wealthy people invest, one truth becomes clear. The rich don't rely on magic. They don't have secret formulas. They simply understand assets, cash flow, compounding, and patience better than most people. And over time, those advantages become enormous. So what have we learned today? The wealthy focus on assets instead of liabilities. They invest rather than simply save. They understand leverage. They diversify wisely. And most importantly, they allow time and compounding to work in their favor. The goal isn't to look rich. The goal is to build lasting wealth. And that journey often begins with small decisions repeated consistently over many years. I hope you enjoyed this documentary and found it valuable. If you like videos about business success stories, investing, entrepreneurship, wealth building, and the strategies used by some of the world's most successful people, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a future documentary. It helps the channel grow and allows us to continue creating in-depth content like this. I'm Ethan Cole. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until next time, keep learning, keep building, and keep thinking bigger.